On this episode of Pimp My Setup, I'm going to be talking about your setups you submitted for tips, tricks, feedback, and much more. So if you're interested in that, then sit back, relax, and interact because the show starts now.
It's time for the original setup show dedicated to providing you with tips, tricks, and feedback to pimp out your setup. Hosted by Matt Philly with new special guests every week. Coming at you live in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pimp My Setup, episode number 175. Recorded live on January 3rd, 2017, almost at 16. My name's Matt Philly. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Philly. And of course, we're joined, as always, by producer Tom.
362 days left to go, guys. You can do it.
What do you see? You want the year to be over already? Just started.
People are sad that this year is going to be bad, even though it's only 3 days in. So
we got to make it a good one. We had a discussion about that in the pre-show, which, by the way, we do every show live on Twitch and YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Make sure you hop on over. Links are down below. And speaking of links down below, we also have a link to our Setup Addicts Facebook page where you can talk about setups, post your pictures, ask for feedback, go over there. We also have a Discord page. A link for that is also down below. And if you want to submit your setups, also link down below. Seriously, all the links you need are down below. So pimpmysetup.com/Q is the place to be if you want to submit your setup. Do it sooner or later, because sooner rather than later. Right?
It's almost 100 episodes in advance. So
yeah, we're looking at the end of summer. End of summer.
Yeah.
So definitely hop on the hype train now while you still can. But I think we're good to hop into the first setup of the day, submitted by Michael. Michael is 21 and he uses this setup for gaming and productivity, and he hopes to get his own place when he actually moves out. That doesn't make any sense what I just said. I just completely read this out of order. I meant when he finishes school, he hopes to get his own place. There you go, Matt. Stupid. Anyways, so looking at this setup, I think the first thing to note is that he is, in fact, under his bed. He tried to hide under there, and he likes it under there. So that's what he's doing. So, I always find under the bed setups very interesting. I think they are a little bit easier and a little bit harder for multiple reasons. Cons and pros. Why did I say it in that order? I don't know.
Hey.
But really, though, you could see that it can make things easier in multiple ways. Having sort of like the overhead allows you to hang things close to your desk, and most of the time if it's like wood you can mount things to it, but in this scenario it all looks like metal, and one thing I found really funny is it sort of goes little to bigger and bigger for the displays. Yeah. It's like boop boop boop. So that was interesting, but also the other thing I was getting at, depending on the size of the bed, it could be a con, because look at how much room he has. Considering the amount of displays that he has, it makes it difficult to put a PC on the desk unless you want your monitor to be dry humping the side of it, which is exactly what it's doing. And I think even if you weren't completely into setups, you can tell that's a problem, right, Tom?
Yes.
I mean, that's a big problem. I can't really tell because the bezel's thin, but is it kind of behind?
It is behind, because you could definitely tell that there's still a little black space, but it's definitely behind it. It's not, I don't think it's cutting off the monitor screen itself, but it's definitely
the bezel, yeah.
The bezel that's getting cut
Which
off.
You just don't want to do that regardless. So
especially because it's straight, you want to have it more on an angle, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right?
And also think about the problem that happens with having 3 displays and the PC on the desk. The right one for Xbox, look at where it is. It's completely at a weird ass angle, which it's fine to have it off at that angle, but it's only at that angle because you don't have the room. So you got to kind of condense. The computer can't be there. You can't have 3 displays. And honestly, I don't really think you need to have those displays because the usability of it, they're just flat. The 2 ones, they're just flat. How is that usable? You need to angle them in. And I know you can't angle them in because of your PC, but this is saying move the PC, angle it in, and then you should be good to go. But I think it's just a lack of space. I don't think the desk is awful. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it works. It's not awful. And then I think the Xbox needs to go under the desk because think about it. The Xbox is also in a really shitty spot. That kind of takes away usable space, and the cable management isn't awesome. It's just kind of okay. Here and there, poking out, blah, 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 whatever. So I definitely want to work on that a bit. But if you're going to be moving, then I'd say trash the desk, and don't bring that bed with you. Can you imagine these guys on a party? He's like, I still have a little bed nest.
If it was higher up and it was like a bigger bunk bed, it'd be a cool like little setup to have underneath. But this is probably like something he had as a kid, so probably it's not a good idea.
You definitely shouldn't be sleeping on a twin size bed though. That's what it looks like.
Is that a window? It's got the little things that you can open up.
Oh God!
And that's
just
blinds.
a terrible spot for the bed.
I just realized that. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
No, I just think it's funny. It's like he's in front of a window, so technically he can like move the blinds and then hop out the window.
Yeah, there you go. That's what he does. I don't know. Just interesting to say the least. Let's go to the next setup though. This setup is almost like most of them today. They're all like very simple, minimalistic, and blah blah blah. So this is submitted by Jamie. He's 13. He uses this setup for his YouTube channel, which is JCR Tech. So literally just the letter J, the letter C, the letter R, and then Tech. So go check him out. But you know, this is an updated photo, a little bit darker than I would have liked, but you kind of get the idea of what he's going for. The single monitor setup, having everything he needs in reaching distance, which is good. It's simple, it works. It's kind of boring, if you will, but I think the thing that tries to change that up is the wallpaper to the left, but not for me, not in a positive way, because I'm just like, damn, that is ugly. But like, I don't know. Do you guys agree? I mean, I guess it depends on the color of the wall to the right, which just looks like to be white. I don't know. I guess it's your own taste. What do you think of it, Tom?
I kind of like it. If his wallpaper or his LEDs were different colors, it would look even more hideous. But because he's got the blue and the red with the blue and the red and the white, it kind of looks okay. Like, if you had to keep it, it looks okay. I wouldn't have the yellow on the Superman. I would get a different wallpaper to match the wallpaper itself. But it looks fine if you have to keep it.
I mean, I don't get the red as much. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Had it just been white, blue, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But someone said it fits his theme.
If he had different LEDs, if he had like green LEDs, you know how ugly that would look.
But then I would say he's going for colors, and I don't know. But he's got the clapboard, whatever it's called. Is that what it's clapboard? Yeah, clapboard. That's cool. But he's got a poster off to the right. But it's like, what about right above the monitor? I feel like that all the stuff on the wall is like in a weird spot. I'd kind of play with that a little bit, get the proper positioning, and then also. People are saying like, oh, the speakers look old. Yes, actually, they are pretty old. And he says they sound awesome. So he wants to know what he can do to make them better. And I say this almost every episode to anybody that has old speakers. You can very easily unscrew the plastic housing and just go spray paint it. Whatever color you want. If you're going for blue, go for blue. Go for black, whatever. And spray paint them. Pop it back on. Should be super simple to do, and it'll be all set and ready to go, and it would look super awesome. So I'm excited about this setup. I think there's a lot of potential in it, especially he's only 13. You gotta cut him some slack. I mean, obviously don't cut him slack in the scores, but I'm saying like, for a beginner setup, this is next level. So I like it a lot. Next setup though is submitted by Nuno. I think that's how you say it. Now. I don't know his exact age, but I was on his YouTube, which is Nuno V. So youtube.com/Nuno V. And based on like he had 1970 whatever on his thing. So I did the math, and that means that he's 44. So it's still funny if you go back to the last photo and then go to this photo. It's like the same idea, It's just in a different environment. He's got the single desk, which he decided to put himself off to the left, which normally I hate, but I understand what he's doing here. He's sort of mimicking, a desk like the one we saw in the last one where it has the drawers off to the right. And the reason he does that is because he has the Fender amp, and also he's putting his laptop there. So he is acting as if that section is not usable, which is fine because he has more than enough space on the left. The reason I normally hate it is because people are like, they have no reason to put themselves to one side. Here, I think it works, and I think it makes sense. Taking a look at this setup, though, it is definitely simple. It's straight to the point. It's an Apple setup. You know, we see the cinema display. We always see these dildo speakers for Apple setups.
That's the weirdest thing. I don't know where you even get them.
They're what are they? Bowers and Wilkins guys? Is that what they are? I forget the name of it, but I think they're sold in the Apple store if I'm not mistaken. But again, I'm just a little bit confused with the wall. I guess positioning, if you will. It looks like he's into abstract art, which is really cool. I think that's fine. I have nothing against it. I just think it could have been placed in a better spot. Like the small one could be off to the left or in maybe another corner up against the door section, if you will. And then you could have the bigger one right up above in the center of the desk. You know, and then maybe it's some smaller, even if you got a lot more smaller pieces to surround it, you know, I think there's just a better way to utilize that space. Now, yeah, I think the rest of the setup, the one thing I was a little bit confused about, I think the usability is fine, but does he utilize the laptop in any way? And what I mean by that is not that he's over there like typing on it. Obviously, it's ran off of that, so he just uses normal mouse and keyboard. But does he look at the display? Because if so, regardless of the fact, I think that they should be kind of pulled in and a little bit angled towards him so he can still see the display, but it's still on that right side. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to have it set up like that anyway. You might as well get the usability out of the display. You know, you could put Spotify on there or whatever. Do you agree with that, Tom?
I could definitely see how that's good, but I feel like if he doesn't use it at all, like he just turns it on and just leaves it there, I think it's fine there because it looks clean just sitting in the back on its own. But if he's constantly using it to like pull up something like, oh, let me just grab this and like type something over here, it's going to be way too hard to use.
No, not physically use it. I'm saying, because obviously he already has the mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
I'm saying if he wants to look at that screen, like you could put your Spotify playlist on there.
Yeah.
And but then you move it in. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, I mean, but I say you can still do that same thing. You just stand up.
No.
Put your Spotify on, that's all.
No, you're not touching the laptop.
All right.
It's ran off the laptop. The computer's ran off the laptop.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just a secondary monitor.
He probably doesn't use it like that, though.
Well, then, if he doesn't use it like that, then that's a stupid stand, and it should be closed on one of the stand, like the ones where it just stands up. That would look a lot better. Otherwise, if you're trying to use the laptop as a secondary monitor, it's got to be pulled in and at an angle. Otherwise, I just feel like it doesn't make sense. Because why have it open? You know, it's just kind of pointless. Regardless, plus that'll also free up a lot of space if he closes it, but whatever. I digress. So I think it's a simple setup, lacking in theme. You know, the cable management's always easy on a desk like this where it has the built-in bottom shelf. But, you know, just a little bit of, and you'll be good to go. So the rest of the room kind of looks a little like, not messy, just, you know, random. Regardless, let's go to the next setup submitted by Ryan. He's 15. He loves playing H1Z1, and he said, huge respect to his dad for building an insane setup for him at his age of 15. So obviously his dad did this for him, and here it is. Yeah. So, you know, it's a love-hate for me. Definitely a love-hate. There's things that I really think are awesome. Like, look at the triple monitors. That looks sick. Look at the black and red really flowing through. The wallpaper makes a big difference. Really, really, really nice. But then there are things I don't like. You know, like the flower curtains that's super transparent. Kind of kills the whole like badass sense that he's going for. Had that just
his pool. His pool's over there.
Yeah, he's got a pool. Maybe he just likes looking at the pool.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he just gets up and looks over his monitor. He's like, that's a pool. But if he had, let's say, blackout curtains, I think that would look a lot nicer, way more clean. I think he needs some LEDs to go behind, throw in more of that red. Now I want to know what everybody thinks about the PC being where it is, because first off, I'm sure it's mounted in there real nice, but that scares me because it's off in the left side. It's not even centered. You know, the weight is distributed to just one side. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I'm sure it's fine. It won't ever fall, but if it does, just kidding. But I will give him props for having The cable is coming out very nice and clean. I think it's weird having the USB hub right there. Like, I get it. Like, cool, you were able to mount it, and it's so usable. But I think it should have went lower. I don't know if it was due to, like, a short cable. That's a really short cable, if so. But I think hidden behind one of the monitors would have looked a lot nicer. But I'm not a big fan of having the computer up in that spot, honestly. But I know some people think it's cool, and maybe he doesn't have a nice spot to display it. He likes it because it's black and red. I understand the pros and cons, but also look at his foot in the photo. You see that? Yeah. That's a foot. The cable management down below. I mean, he's got the netting. It's perfect. It's holding it. It looks like a dead body, shoved under his desk, which is cool. I mean, that's fine. It works. But those two cables, man, all that hard work, and it just kills it. And it sucks because those plugs are the ones that go down. So it makes it even harder. But I definitely think even just wire mold would help. But it's unfortunate the way that those cables are. I don't know if you could swap them out. But yeah, I think my main problem is the curtain, the PC, and then I think if you got rid of the PC, you could have more epic posters like the one on the left. That one is so cool, but it doesn't really matter because it's like off to the side. Had it been like two more of them or whatever, it would look awesome. And somebody just said in the chat that those are only rated to hold like 40 pounds, those shelves, if they're wall mounted. So that's kind of scary. I mean, you're probably
close.
Yeah, very close, I would say, depending on what you got in there. So that's sketchy. But, again, I like what he's going for. I think it's not a bad setup by any means. I would have really liked to seen just like a far back photo. I think this was an updated photo, which is why. But had he just like taken a few steps back, I think it would really open up a lot more discussion because I feel like there's some stuff he's maybe hiding. I mean, obviously I didn't take stuff off of his points for that. I'm just assuming when you take photos like that, like up close and then like a really close undershot, it's a little sketchy to me, just a little. So I don't know. Do you guys get the same feeling, Tom? What do you think?
I could definitely see that. It's always nice to have further back photos because then we could see if we can move your setup somewhere else or something somewhere else.
And it paints the picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think some little sketchy is going on, but we'll let you slide this time, buddy. Next photo is submitted by Josh. He's 15. His YouTube channel is Former Mars 6. Okay. That's all we know about him. I got to pee so bad, dude.
Too much water.
Yeah, I know. It's still this water, man. Anyways, so take a look at this photo. This was another updated photo because surprisingly, this episode, majority of the people sent me updated photos when I asked for them. So thank you. But like, I wish I could have asked him for a better photo. It was too late to do so. So all we have is this really far back one, and then the next one that just kind of shows like a bird's eye view of his desk. So okay, yeah, I was gonna say this is gonna make me seem like a dick right off the bat, and I'm not trying to be a dick, I promise. But I was gonna say, hey man, paint the walls. His email said he just painted the walls, so I feel so bad. Because obviously he wanted that color. I just don't think it works. What do you think?
I mean, it's okay.
It's not the best.
It's not the best, but I feel like maybe if he went with more of the color theme, now that he has the walls painted, like get some more blue or that color, like peripherals or something like that, then maybe it'll work. But it kind of looks weird just like that.
It almost feels to me like the birch kind of like wood tabletop clashes with that too much. I don't like how it goes together. I think it's just a bright blue and that's why, but yeah, I feel bad. Regardless, it's not awful. It's just, yeah. Anyway, so the thing is with the setup, zooming in from that photo, it doesn't look bad. I like how the PC is where it's at. It's like in a nice hidden little cubby hole, which is really cool, and it still shows off the LEDs, which is really nice. And the usability looks good. You can see he can push his mouse and keyboard under his shelf. If you go to the next photo, you see he pulls it out. I don't think there's really ever a reason to push it in unless you got to do homework and stuff, but it's nice you have the option. So that's cool. Usability looks to be pretty good. The mic, everything seems to be like you just pull that in, bada bing, bada boom. It's not bad. The one thing that weirds me out, though, is that it looks like a Best Buy in there.
I know. What the hell?
Dude, it's almost like he literally stole these. I'm sure he actually used them. It'd be kind of stupid to steal empty gift cards and stuff. But it looks like when I was back at Best Buy and I would have to stock the freaking cards on the shelves. Look at how many he has. Really weird. I don't know if I'm a fan of that.
Maybe he's trying to flaunt off how much, how many cards he's got and how much money he's used on it.
Yeah, definitely some dough there. What do you guys think of that? Is that weird? I think it's a cool idea. I think it works. You know, it's cool. It's unique. I definitely think it's unique. I think theme, you're trying. It's a good idea. But yeah, now that part's cool. Let's look at the left side. Obviously, wire mold's going to be really important here, and it'll really make a big difference. Also, the TV's not that big, so having it that high up is a little weird to me. Yeah. His bed is in that corner we could see, but I still think if you're laying all the way back, is that too high?
Yeah, it's a weird position to have it in. Because I don't even know how far the bed goes back. It looks like it goes back a little bit further, so I don't even think you'd be able to see it unless he lays the other way.
Yeah.
Like, towards the end of the room.
Weird to me. I don't think it's awful. I think it's a pretty good 15-year-old setup, but I think some tinkering here and there will make it from what it is to like a million times better. So definitely unique. I like what you're going for. Just keep it up. Keep it up. Let's go to the next setup submitted by Nicholas. Really just Nicholas. But yeah, he's 14. He uses this setup for gaming and sometimes programming. You know, I had a lot that I just wanted to like, if I knew Nicholas, I'd probably slap him. I'd slap him. Because you know what? Yeah, he's got the cool flight simulator stuff, but for the photo, take it off. Ah! Really though, seriously, why do you need that in the photo, man? Like, I get it. You have cool equipment, but no! Move it. Also, the monitors are like, what does the one monitor have cooties and the other one's trying to get away? You gotta let them touch. Trust me, making them touch, the usability is just so much nicer. Plus, the out of sight, out of mind, I didn't give you a good score because you have all this stuff on your desk that doesn't look like you ever really need to use. And it's just there, making the left side especially look really messy. So had that been out of the way, that would have helped a lot. Had you put all the RC, the flying stuff away, that would help a lot too, because that adds so many more cables than you really need. And then it's just like such a dark photo. It doesn't really help. The upper part, the shelves, we can't really see what's on there, but it kind of looks just kind of like a storage. Doesn't really look like he's using it for anything cool. So I'm a bit confused. I'm not a huge fan at all, honestly. I think you have great equipment. You just did a terrible job at placing it. And I say this all the time, but you got to make it pretty for the photo. It's all about, you want me to believe that you have a clean setup at all times. Even if right after the photo, it goes back to looking like this. It is partially all about lying. And I mean that, you know? So I think Tom would agree. You should have just really hid some of that stuff.
Yeah, like everything. Just take everything off the desk, the monitors, the
just
keyboard,
a blank desk.
And just have a blank desk.
And I would have been like, you know what? It's a good starting point. I like what you're going for.
Minimalistic.
Yeah. No monitor, no keyboard, no mouse.
He doesn't go on the computer. He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. No problem. But yeah, I think a lot of work is needed for the setup. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it all day. I think he knows what's going on. Next photo and final set of the day is submitted by Kiryl.
Close enough. I think.
You know, I didn't know if it was a real name. It kind of makes me sound like a dick. But I Googled it, and the first thing that came up was Dragon Ball Z. I think it was Dragon Ball Z, or one of those animes. I was like, oh, it's just like a fake name. Then I Googled it, and it's like, oh, no, it's a real name. It's like a Greek thing. That's pretty cool. I haven't heard that, and I like when people have unique names. But this setup, I really like, and I think he did a great job with it, specifically because of the color theme. This goes to show how important it is. If you do, you don't want to go for, all the time people are like, I don't want to put posters. I don't want to put anything on the shelves. I don't want pet banners. It's like, oh, you don't need pop vinyls, but whatever. But with this setup, he went so simple. Literally, the theme is just black, blue, gray. And I think it works. I think it works perfectly. Yeah, the one on the left side, I'd push that up a little bit. It's starting to sag. You know what I'm saying? But the lighting, I think, is what makes it look like this. But they all look like different Yeah, it's just the lighting.
Yeah,
right?
it's just the lighting.
Because it's like gray, black.
Different.
Yeah, like the one on the bottom left corner compared to the bottom right corner, the colors just look so different.
Like an old one he had. Like he's like, I still have this old one lying around. Let me just put it up anyway.
Yeah, right. Here's my thing though. I think he still won the episode, but oh my god, his score could be so much better if he just like figured it out. Just took a second and thought about his setup a little bit more, because the usability I had a little bit of trouble with, because yes, his speakers are technically not blocked, but I think that could be handled a little bit better. I think if he had a dual monitor arm coming off the back of his desk, raising up the monitors just a little, he could have had the speakers in a normal spot, and I think it would have just felt and worked a lot nicer. I think the right display looks a little too angled in. I'm not sure. Obviously it comes down to when you're actually sitting there. It could be at a perfect angle. It does look a little too brought in, but if you had the dual monitor arm and brought it up, it wouldn't even be an issue. It would look a lot nicer. You get a lot more desk real estate back. You could push things to the back side a little bit more. The router, I wouldn't really want to have it on the desk. I'd put it elsewhere. And the Xbox, that's cool. But I think it'd be better if you had the monitors back, because then at least it's usable to where you don't have to go around the monitor and around the speaker just to, turn it on or eject the disc. I know you can turn it off with the controller, but you get what I'm saying. The microphone, all that's cool, but I will agree with what a lot of people are saying in the chat. The foam looks really half-assed. I think if you would have put a little bit more time, it could have looked a little bit neater, but it does look like really misaligned and just kind of like sporadically put up onto the wall. So that part of it's a little confusing to me. Would you agree with that, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, he probably just wanted to get up on the wall, and no one wants to sit there for like an hour and put all that stuff up.
But
you have the experience of doing it. It's not fun to do. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's not fun.
Perfect. Yeah, it's not fun. Nothing's fun, Tom.
Especially for a kid. He just wants to get it up there and make it look cool.
Yeah, but he's 17, bruh. I didn't even say that. He's 17.
No, that's different.
And his YouTube channel is It's Minnoz, which is ITSMINNOZ. He says that he plans on upgrading the monitors soon, which I thought was interesting, by the way. But I don't think he needs to. I think they're fine. Yes, you can obviously upgrade them. But if you're going to do that, I would go for like a single big ass display, like an ultra wide.
A single display would be way better than having two displays, in my opinion. Yeah,
because don't you think the secondary monitor is what really hurts his usability here? Not because
it takes up too much space.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not because it's the monitor's not usable, but it forces him to kind of lose a lot of usable space on the right side and just kind of make it look a little more clunky. But yeah. Whatever. By the way, I meant to say he's also a military kid, so he's been moving around a lot, but I think that he said he's kind of like situated now. So he's never really been able to have a permanent setup. Maybe that's why he's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
He's like, let me just put this up.
Yeah, let me just put those acoustic foam panels up as quick as possible. Oh, and that's the other thing I was going to say. Obviously, the cable on the left side, I get it. It's kind of a bitch to have, but you did a wonderful job with everything else, especially on the right side. So you might as well just wrap it around the leg, and it will look so good. So good. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I don't think it's a bad setup. I think it's a great setup. But it could get such a very high score if he especially only had one monitor. But anyways, score time. We got Michael with a 62, Jamie with an 80, Nuno with an 80, Ryan with an 82, Josh with a 74, Nicholas with a 60, and Kiryl with an 82. So, yes, tie between Ryan and Kiryl. I don't know how I can say that. Kiryl. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Kiryl. But yeah, I don't know. Who do you think wins, Ryan or Kiryl? I will say Kiryl. I think Ryan.
I'm going to say Ryan.
Screw you. I think Ryan has a lot of work to do.
I don't think so.
To make it 100 set up. I think that he's hiding something from us, and I think he's got a deep, dark secret that he's not willing to share. But I think better utilization of where the PC is. PC should be on the floor. So much to fix in that setup, but it's such a great starting point. Regardless of that, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Pimp My Setup, episode number 175, recorded live on January 3rd, 2017. My name is Matt Philly. On Twitter, I'm Philly. We got Tom, the producer, at Thomas Philly. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you real soon.